guys, I'm Jasmine, and over the years, people have asked me, where do I meet men? Now, I'm gonna give you guys some of the tea into my secrets. There are many places where you can meet men. Whether they're good or bad, I'm gonna just tell you right now, it's up in the air. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be like, oh, this is the best place to meet men as far as like the best types of men, because I couldn't tell you. But I know over the years I have ended up being asked out by different men in a multiple of different spaces. And there are a variety of places you can go where there are men that you could potentially date or have the option to date. Because I know some of you are like, well, I don't really see any attractive men, or I don't really see specific men I would be interested in. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the spaces that you could go to potentially meet people. Now, I do have to preface this by saying this is going to be my personal experience as a black woman. If you are another race, girl, you could try some of these, but it could be a toss-up depending what type of vibe you going for, what type of guy you might be interested in. But I'm going to just go off my personal experience as a black woman. Now, firstly, I just want to mention to make sure to look presentable. You don't have to do too much. You can honestly wear something very basic. I know me personally, if I really thought about all the times that I got asked out or met guys, literally all I wore was jeans and a blouse. I was not wearing anything too extensive. Sometimes I would wear dresses, and sometimes people approach me, but most of the time, whenever I just wear jeans and a cute top, people approach me. So hopefully y'all don't take this the wrong way, but you can obviously dress feminine, but I will say try not to dress too revealing, because a lot of times when you dress too revealing, you tend to attract the wrong type of guys. Hopefully y'all understand what I mean. It's just like you could wear whatever you want, but again, when you dress in specific ways, sometimes specific men are who come across your path. Another thing that I do have to mention is a lot of times people will share with me where they go and who they are with when it comes to wanting to meet men. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you travel in a group of 3 or more women, that's probably why you're not meeting any decent men. 3 is a crowd when it comes to, like, if you actually want to meet somebody while you're out and about. I would say at the most have one other girl with you, because the more women, the more guys may not feel like they're in a safe spot to approach a girl, to be honest. Which is understandable. Like, sometimes your friends can be blockers. There's also the fact that sometimes, not all women, but there are some women that can be catty or bullyish. I don't even know how else to say it, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean, because I've seen it happen many a times where a guy would get up the nerve to finally approach a girl in a group of her friends, and one of the friends would just be roasting him for no reason.
Just roasting him.
Or they would try to take over and approach him even though he was approaching another friend or another girl in the group. It's just easier to go out with somebody who is chill, that doesn't do too much. Let it just be one other friend. Don't make it a group, because again, it's too much to manage. And I'm gonna tell you right now, 9 times out of 10, if a man approaches you and you are with a group of women, they are normally arrogant. And from experience, dating arrogant men is not the way to go. They're normally very selfish. They are inconsiderate. I would not recommend, like, if somebody approaches you and you're with a group of your friends, to me, personally, I would not try to talk to them, but that's just from my personal experience. But it also depends on the space that you are into, so I would just be mindful of that. That's just my little 2 cents. Take what I say with a grain of salt. Let's jump into the places that you can go to. Firstly, go to a free class. It could be a dance class, a cooking class, any type of classes. Sometimes different places do host free classes, so you could just do a little Google search, type in free classes near you, and then your city, and see what comes up. Attend some of those classes and you could potentially meet somebody there. So one of the main places that I used to meet people when I was in my early 20s was at festivals. If I was actively dating, like trying to find somebody, I would more than likely go to a festival, but I would be out of there by 3 p.m. because that's when people start doing too much outside and the youth
be outside doing a bit too much for me.
Personally, I would just go ahead. I would go probably around like 12 p.m., do what I was going to do, potentially meet somebody, because when I used to go, I would go literally at 12:30 p.m. It wouldn't be a whole bunch of people there, but it would still be people there. And sometimes I would meet different men there, whether it was men working there or working in certain certain companies or businesses around the area, or actual people that, were just visiting. And it was much easier to talk with them because it wasn't as crowded too. Go to a concert, and then afterwards go to a local bar or a local restaurant in the area, because normally you'll end up seeing people who came from the concert there, and you could potentially spark a conversation there. Also, if you don't want to spend money to go to a concert, if you know there's going to be a concert in the area, you could still go to a bar, because a lot of times what'll happen is some people may come in, and you could even start a conversation like,
oh, where are you guys coming from? I saw a whole bunch of people coming from down there.
And they could tell you, oh, this concert was going on. You could be like,
oh man, I wish I would have known. I would have loved to go to a concert like that. Who else was there?
Easily spark up a conversation like that. I will say it does help to take initiative. I'm not gonna lie to you. It does help. You can go play pool. I do recommend Googling, making sure it's like a safe area, and go to a pool bar. This is specifically if you're like 30 plus years old. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some men in there that will be married. But the times when I've been to a pool bar, there were a lot of men in there, much older. Some of them were single, some of them had ladies, but sometimes they will approach you, potentially want to flirt with you. A pool bar can be a place to go. Plus, there are different things you could do in a pool bar. You can shoot pool. Sometimes they have little arcade games. Sometimes the music is a vibe and you could just dance and sip your little drinky drink with your friend while y'all shoot pool or fake playing pool. The food is also normally good at bars as well too, so it's always a good time in my opinion. Another thing I recommend doing is going out to eat for lunch on the weekends alone. And I know a variety of people don't really like going out to eat alone, but I do feel like you can. I know the times when I went out to eat alone, honestly, I got approached a decent amount, but it also just really depends on what type of restaurant you in. You can also just sit at the bar as well, because you never know, like somebody could come in, want to interact with you, or they'll sit next to you and then y'all can spark a conversation. You just never know. I will say, doing things by yourself, you get approached more, especially if you're enjoying yourself. Like, one thing that I used to do sometimes where I would just bring out my phone and I'll be watching videos on my phone while I would eat or something like that, or be reading a book or writing notes, doing a little self-date or something like that, and people would approach me like that. Another thing you could do is frequent a bar, restaurant, bowling alley, or skating rink. Make somewhere a regular. You go there a decent amount of time. Y'all know that show Cheers? I wanna go where everybody knows your name. Do, 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 do. And they're always glad you came. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You can do something like that where you constantly go to a specific restaurant or bar. Who knows? Like, somebody could walk through the door or you can meet somebody that way. It's just a thought, because you never know. And sometimes other people could put you on other people, especially if you build up a rapport with the waiters, waitresses, whoever works there too. So I don't officially support this completely, but you could work at a big company and meet somebody who works at the company. However, if you work at this company, do not date anybody who is anywhere close to your team. Date somebody on a completely different team. I do not recommend dating coworkers, but if you work in like a big company, and sometimes these companies will host shindigs for the employees and stuff, go to those functions, because you could potentially meet somebody at the activities, the events that they have. I think the only place where I would be like, don't do it, is like if you worked at a factory or something like that, because I've heard of a lot of drama that happens within factories. So yeah, more like some sort of corporate company, I would recommend if you could get into one of those, you could potentially meet somebody in that space. So the other thing that I would recommend, and this is what happened to me, and this is actually how I met my husband, I would recommend, well, I didn't actively do this, but think about people or go to different high school functions, right? So in my opinion, I feel like a lot of people go to high school reunions to connect and potentially either do some business with somebody or to do a love connection. A lot of people do it all the time. Another thing that you can do is hop up on your Facebook, be active on Facebook, and basically interact with people who are in your Facebook friends. Because I know over the years, I have had a variety of people I went to high school with reach out to me talking about they wanted to talk to me or they would interact with me on my statuses, want to talk to me. And in my husband's case, we went to high school together, but we didn't date till almost 10 years later. Like, we did not date until 10 years later almost. Basically, we started off hanging out, doing different stuff. You know, we ended up liking each other and dating, and then we got married last year. So, and I've heard of a lot of different people doing that where they'll end up reconnected with somebody from high school on Facebook and they'll end up dating and then they get married. So I recommend doing that, or I even recommend going through mutual friends Facebook and just going through some of the people you find attractive or people that you know could be related to them or something like that if you worry about safety. You never know. Your future husband could literally be in your Facebook friends. Truly. Truly. You can also check out Facebook events or Eventbrite events on Google. Just type in like events near me or events in such and such city this weekend and then go to one of those events. You could end up meeting somebody there. I know there's a thing called day parties and people tend to go to those. Like if you want to do something before 6 p.m., 7 p.m., you'll want to be out late at night, find a day party to go to that has dancing and stuff like that. Check that out, and that could be something fun that you do. So this is the thing, right? Even though I am an introvert, me being alone, how do I say this? Even though I'm an introvert, right? I did not like the idea of being alone like for the rest of my life, okay? I have always wanted to be with somebody, have somebody to share my life with. I've always wanted that. I will say that overrid my social anxiety. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And I may come out with a video about that. If I'm in the mood to do so, because sometimes I didn't want to be bothered. But if I was in the mood to do so, if I found somebody attractive, I would actually tell them. I do also have to mention, making eye contact, smiling, and saying hi goes a long freaking way. A long freaking way. Because I've seen so many different videos about people sharing how women will flirt where they'll just stare a guy down. Girl, if you don't smile and say hi or just approach the guy, you know, and if y'all want, I could do a whole video about my flirting techniques because I definitely did do some flirting back in my dating days, within my dating career. I definitely did do some flirting, and I feel like, to me, you don't necessarily have to make any first moves for real, where it's like you're trying to aggressively let somebody know you're interested. But literally saying hi and smiling opens the door. Simple. Or if somebody's sitting next to you at the bar, brief conversation. It could be something as simple as, oh, that's a nice watch, where did you get it? Yeah, I like that. You know, anything. I've heard a lot of men say this on social media, men that I actually know in real life, but it's something about when a woman initiates, they're like, oh, that's different. Because a lot of times, men are scared to say things to women because, I hate to say it, but there are a lot of mean women. And I completely get it because there have been a lot of situations where men won't take no for an answer or they won't catch a hint. Unfortunately, women can be mean. That kind of deters a lot of men to approaching women sometimes. And don't get me wrong, the arrogant ones will always approach you. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Telling you red flag, okay? I think I did a video about that, but it's nice to just smile and acknowledge them. You don't have to do too much. You really don't. They are very simple. The fact that you acknowledge them is enough. I do have one more thing. I can remember multiple times. Whenever I was having a great time, living in the moment, in my element, just doing my own thing, men would always freaking approach me. Always. It never failed. Whenever I am just having a good time, laughing, smiling, making little jokey jokes, not doing too much, but I'm just literally enjoying life, men would approach me. People catch the vibes that you on. If you living in your own element, you not paying attention, you just doing you, being present, involved in the moment. Sometimes people will literally, like, I could be at a restaurant, not recently, obviously, but in the past, when I would go to a restaurant, go with some friends or something, I would be laughing, cackling, chuckling a bit, and maybe I would excuse myself to go to the bathroom with one of my friends. Go to the bathroom, a guy might approach one of us or both of us, or, well, not at the same time, you know, it'd be a friend and they friend or something like that. Sometimes people would be like,
hey, like, you really seem like you're having a good time, and I find that attractive.
I can't tell you how many guys have said that to me. Actually, I can't tell you. It wasn't that many. I'm capping. But people actually do vibe off of you. Like, when they see you enjoying yourself and having a great time. That's another reason why I would never recommend people going to the club to meet people. There was this one restaurant slash bar slash club on Friday, Saturday nights that we used to go to before it shut down. Whenever I would go, I'm not a person that holds up the wall. I'm dancing. I came here to dance. That is my sole purpose for being here. I don't care about anything else going on. I just want to have a good time. Whenever I was dancing, even if people was laughing, I didn't care. But men would approach me. And they would be like,
hey, I see you having a good time. Like, I would love to get to know you. Can I have your number, whatever.
Even though I didn't want their number. It's just the fact that I was enjoying myself and having a great time and vibing out, and I didn't have a care in the world. People feel your energy. So I will say, the more you are present and enjoy yourself, people will acknowledge that and they'll see it. It's something about it where it's just like a light shines, where they're like, huh, I need to know more about that person. So it's just something to be mindful of. Try to enjoy life, live your life, be present, because sometimes when you just be enjoying, living for yourself in a moment, people will catch it and people will see it and people will be intrigued by it. But again, let me know if you guys want me to do a video about how I flirt. I'm not gonna lie, it's embarrassing. But, you know, it worked for me. I think it worked for me personally. I never did anything too much. But check out my other dating, drama, advice, and storytime videos. The playlist will be linked down below in the description box. But I'll be seeing you guys again soon, so stay blessed, stay positive. Bye.